BBC Radio Manchester, 95.1 FM. And the Bible Code Sundays, this is a group made up of lads mainly from the West Midlands, London and the west of Ireland. And their musical influences are from traditional Irish to folk and rock. Earlier I spoke to Ronan MacManus, who happens to be the little brother of Elvis Costello, and also Andy Nolan, who has played with Shane MacGowan. And I started by asking Ronan, where did the band name come from?
Bible Code Sundays, we basically we used to do these gigs on a Sunday, 2 gigs back to back. They ended up as kind of heavy drinking sessions, and there was we used to talk about conspiracy theories. That was a kind of our conversation of choice at the time. And there was one thing called the Bible Code, which we thought was going to be a bigger thing when we named the band. Now it's kind of really obscure, but it was basically about future events being encoded in the original text of the Bible, like JFK's assassination, things like that. And these, when you're 12 pints in, these things are very, very interesting. So basically, these sessions became known as Bible Code Sundays, so that every Sunday became a Bible Code Sunday, and that was
so a deep philosophical thought.
Yeah, it was, yeah,
very, very intelligent. And Andy, now in terms of the band, how did actual bands get started? How did you form the members?
Well, me and Ronan have known each other now for at least 15 years, and we've played together with different lineups. The lineup we've got today was established, I think, around 2006. We recorded our first album, Ghosts of Our Past, and then we recorded our second album then in 2007, Boots or No Boots. So yeah, it's been going pretty strong ever since, thankfully.
Now the music itself, now, I mean, when you do your research and you read about the band, and I mean, I'm sure you've heard it 100 times, you were described as a breath of fresh air in terms of music. But where did that influence come from? Because I mean, your music is different in terms of from a traditional point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're very much a London Irish band in the way that, or at least a second generation Irish band. We've got just as many influences from the likes of Oasis and the Rolling Stones and those sorts of bands as the Chieftains, Wolf Tones, Dubliners. Now there's just as many modern influences, and I think that's, we kind of bring a kind of a modern take on it. You know, we kind of have a lot of, we have electric guitar in the band, for instance, and acoustic guitar and bass and a drum kit, as well as a fiddle and a box. So we do have a traditional element to the band, but there's also very much coming from a rock place as well at the same time. So maybe it's a bit of a marriage of the two.
But did you feel there was a need for that type of music, or was there like bands like Shane MacGowan, we'll talk about that later, and various bands like that had sort of petered out a bit? So did you feel there was a niche for it?
Yeah, we thought there was, with some fresh material, really, and we've always had some great ideas for songs and ideas. So we wanted to try and carry on that tradition, really, that the Pogues had established. And we wanted to try and carry that on as best we could. You know, my parents immigrated to London in 1959, and I was supposed to be for a 2-week holiday, but they stayed there ever since. And there was lots of stories came with that, the hard times as well as the good. So we had a lot to say in our songs, and we wanted people to hear that.
Now, Ronan, if we'll go back on your background now, because you're brother of the famous Elvis Costello.
That's right. Yeah.
So that must be a lot of pressure. Do you feel?
Well, there's such an age gap. There's not always that much of a comparison, because as well as being more on the Irish scene, you know, Declan was very. I was 1 when his first album came out, so you know, there's a massive age gap. He was already well established by the time I even came into music, so there was never really that kind of competitiveness or anything like that.
But nevertheless, probably quite a big reputation to live up to.
Well,
from
certainly
a family
big
point.
Shoes to fill.
Yes,
certainly. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, but I don't know. I always felt encouragement from seeing him sort of making it and doing everything. You know, playing with Paul McCartney and playing with the Chieftains and all these other. I really felt like it was more of a kind of it's possible for you to do this. It's not like for a lot of people being in a band or something, you'd feel it was a very kind of far off, distant ambition that you couldn't possibly really achieve without the help of Simon Cowell. But this it really seemed like achievable. As long as you work hard at it, you can do it, and you can make a living out of it. And that was really, I felt it was for me, it was an encouragement. But maybe other people judge me on him. But I'd hope I get my own merit a little bit.
Yeah, but would you agree you embraced it? Rather, you would say you hear some performers who have like famous dads and mums, and they tried and deliberately distanced themselves from that fame in terms of their own career to give it like a more legitimate edge, if you like.
Yeah, I've never played on it as such. I mean, people doing the research will find out about it. So I've never denied it. I've never, but it's never been the first thing I've said either, because I think I've got enough things to say of my own without having to use his name. But it comes up, and I'm proud of him and everything. you know. So I don't. It really doesn't feel like a conflict.
So you should. Now, Andy, you've got like another feather to your bow because I believe you're involved in making a film at the moment.
Yeah, I've got a movie, Clan London, currently in pre-production. It's about a London Irish family up from the 1970s in London up to the present day, and it's a crime drama. And these three particular brothers end up the wrong side of the track and get in lots of trouble. And I've actually nearly finished writing the sequel, which is Clanchester, which will be set in Manchester, as you can imagine.
That's something to look for. Now, in terms of the film is set in London and it's been filmed.
It will be filmed in the Ladbroke Grove and Kilburn area of northwest London, where a lot of Irish immigrants settled in the 60s onwards.
With the sequel Clanchester, so it says it all.
Not giving too much away. It involves one of the characters escaping to Manchester to hide out.
Now that must be quite that's a very diverse area to go down after the music. So where did that inspiration come from? Was it something you always wanted to do? Or?
Yeah, it was. I've always been a huge movie fan, and songwriting was something I stumbled across really because I just me and Ronan always found that we had so much to say and about our background, or our family's background. It just started coming out on paper in songs, and then for me there seemed to be another natural progression into getting into screenwriting as well. I felt that I had lots more to say. When I'd be watching movies, I'd be taking a lot in and thinking I could see where there'd be an angle for an Irish crime drama set in London. Obviously, you've had The Departed and Goodfellas and films like that go into the ethnicity of the Italians and the Irish in America. I thought there's definitely a story to be told about the Irish in London. So,
and is there any musical element to the film, or how is that built in?
There's a huge soundtrack already on the go. We're very confident of getting Elvis Costello to donate a track. We've spoken to the Dropkick Murphys in Boston, Spider Stacey from the Pogues, who I used to play with. Our own band, the Bible Code Sundays, are going to contribute to the soundtrack. The endless amount of artists really want to be involved in the soundtrack. So for a low budget independent movie, it will be quite something, hopefully.
So do we ask Ronan, are you auditioning for the film?
I don't need to audition. I've got the lead role.
You got the lead role.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry, Andy. By the way, I've got the lead role.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask myself after. So, but I mean, from bringing all this together, I mean, because it obviously sounds very busy and etc. So you've got your band on the go now. So what direction do you feel you would like to go in terms of? Is it to let's say expand your coverage in the UK, Ireland, whereabouts? What's the direction you would like to go?
Well, I think our last album, Boots on No Boots, was very much, we did it on purpose. We really made it a London Irish album, and we sang about the local area, and it was very localised, kind of to try to sort of emulate what the Dropkicks had done in Boston. We wanted to do a similar sort of thing for the London Irish, and I think the next album now we've since that album we've had a member leave who was a flute player. We actually replaced him with an electric guitarist, so we're kind of naturally going down a more of a rock route with the next one. The sound is kind of evolving, and even though we're still going to be singing about similar things, and we're still going to have the Irish element in there, we just need to get around into different areas now. We really want to just get out and play as many places as we possibly can, really.
And Andy, yourself, apart from the filmmaking, are you still going to? You think you'll stick to the music, or would you like to move on to anything else?
I'd like to try and maintain doing both, really, because I really enjoy both. Hopefully, I will be busy next year when we start filming, but with 6 of us in the band, I'm sure they could probably do without me for 1 or 2 gigs if need be. But
what was it like working with Shane MacGowan?
It was fantastic. I played with Shane for just over a year back in 1999 when after he left the Pogues, he formed the Popes, and I went out to America and done the Chicago Flower, the Boston Flower, and the New York Flower. We were playing in front of around 50,000 people upwards.
Is he really the character that we all perceive him to be?
He is, totally. But once you go on stage, he just went straight into the zone and straight into what he should be doing, and just fantastic. Any time we played, he was always on the ball, and great performance every time. Can't fault him.
Now, Ronan, you mentioned your solo album. So what was the reason behind that? Why did you want to do a solo rather than something within the band?
I've always listened to some more sort of singer-songwriter acoustic music as well as the Irish stuff. So I felt, I've been writing different stuff. I've been writing songs since I was about 9 or 10 years old, and not always good, but plenty of them. And I just felt like there was an album in me, and I really felt like I needed to do it. And the themes of the songs, the type of music, it didn't really seem to fit the Bible Code. So I felt like I had it in me. So I kind of did it on off days and little bits here and there, and eventually I had it finished, and I just made it available on iTunes, but I've not actually done much to kind of go out there and really sort of push it very much. But I kind of needed to get it out of me.
Ronan MacManus and Andy Nolan from the Bible Code Sunday, a fabulous pair of lads, and I was delighted they could come in earlier, and we'll be hearing a piece of music from them shortly. Next up on BBC Radio Manchester